I'll be talking to Spurs fans from around the world who'll tell me how they feel about that victory, a victory that was only really a victory in the end, wasn't it? It doesn't really even feel like a victory, but that is what happens. And let's get started with my first guest today. And hello, Melvyn, all the way from Malta. Melvyn, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Top man. Thanks for being patient, mate. It's been a bit of a long day. And actually, we've only got about 35 minutes left, so I'm going to have to be quick with all of the guests. But what are your thoughts on the game today overall, Melvyn?
Yeah, the performance was always going to be like that, wasn't it? A weird pitch, a lower league side that they're going to come to frustrate and try to score with their, really good throw-in set piece. And to be fair, we dealt with it quite well. It wasn't really a major issue. To get to extra time, you have to sort of be disappointed for them, because imagine they got a replay at our stadium. Yeah. The finances that they would have received to be able to play at such a stadium, you kind of, in a way, feel sorry for them, because if I was a player for Tamworth, I'd be like, oh, I would have loved to play at the Tottenham Stadium. But, we got the win. We're in the cup still. We're still in all competitions. We did manage to rest some players. Disappointed with some of the performances. Our attacking line is, really blunt when you take out, some key players. I was disappointed with Timo, especially a player of his experience versus Tamworth. He should be doing better. With even Johnson, I thought Johnson wasn't very effective in the first half, second half. Mikey Moore still young, coming back from injury, still finding his feet. You expect a bit
Melvyn,
more
sorry to interrupt, but were you surprised when he took off Mikey Moore rather than Werner?
Maybe, but at the same time, it's his first 60 minutes since coming back from injury. Timo match fit. Give him 90 minutes. Take the load off of Heung-min Son. The positives is we rested some key players, and which needed a rest. Kulusevski was one of them. Yeah, but they didn't play. I think Tamworth tired, and when they come in and they found space, and once we got the first one, all of a sudden key areas in the pitch started to open up, and we got the second and third quickly, and the game was over. And still good to be in the cup. We'll see who we draw. I'd love to get a home draw, regardless of who the opposition is. I think playing at home in our stadium is a massive advantage. I'm excited for the upcoming fixtures. The next two games are absolutely massive. Could absolutely make a world of a difference to our season. And this is one of those games where I don't think I even celebrated any of the goals, Barnaby. I wasn't watching your stream. Just when the goal went in, I literally, my expression didn't even change. It was like, you know what I mean? We're playing Tamworth away in the FA Cup, a team we should be winning quite easily. For them to get to extra time, I think it's a respectable scoreline for them. I'm sure they're proud of their players. I don't know if any of the Tamworth fans, watched this stream or tuned in or commented or anything like that. I think they had some. They should be proud of their performance and their team, and to play a team like Spurs, like Tottenham Hotspur, I'm sure they'll remember this one for a while.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm just going to ask you one more question before I let you go. Obviously, we're in the January window, and I'm thinking more and more as I watch Spurs at the moment that Brennan Johnson, for me, is like almost the perfect player to bring off the bench when teams are stretched. And it's clear from a lot of the reports we're hearing that Tottenham are looking for someone to play across that forward line. Do you think it's likely we'll get that kind of business done this January? Ange has been pretty honest about needing something.
I hope so. I mean, the club's been consistently spending money in January. I think we're in a strong financial position, and we don't have any FFP troubles. We seem to have the money. We bought Pedro Porro, Dragozin, Kulusevski, Bentancur. These are all January signings. Bergvall was January signing. We keep consistently being active in January, which is something I like. We buy the player 6 months before the summer. They have time to settle in, and then they can really affect the season, when it starts in August. I really like January signings.
So you hope so?
I hope so. I think I think the goalkeeper was a great signing. Credit to the board, credit to Daniel Levy, credit to whoever the scouting department. Again, another game he was highly influential in, and yeah, we just need to do the same for the right or left wing. We need cover. We need a starter, Barnaby. I think we need to upgrade on Johnson. Johnson's still a young player who has lots of potential, but we need one for the now. We need, like we did with Solanke, spend 50-60 million on a player that improves us immediately. It's what we need.
I agree. Melvyn, thank you so much for calling in, mate. Thanks for being part of the show, and hopefully speak to you soon. Cheers, mate.
All the best.
Top man. That was Melvyn over in Malta. Just a little message to John, the UK John, Jon. Are you there? Because I can see you're on, but there's no camera. Okay, so John is there. So next up is John. John, tell me, what are your thoughts after that game? It was a close one.
Yeah, well, firstly, full credit to Tamworth, I think. Really, really good. They set themselves up well and made it difficult for us. But that said, we can always, when we have difficulties in games previously, if we've lost or what have you, then we blame the manager, we blame his tactics, we blame the chairman, we blame everything else. Players, mentality, massively stood out today. The mentality of quite a few of our players.
Did you, John, feel like they were just trying not to get injured, basically?
I get, there's some of that. There's some of that. I think some of the attitude is like, oh, I shouldn't really be playing in this. I shouldn't be. I've got Arsenal on Wednesday. Why is he putting me in? I shouldn't really be. And I'm sorry, but tough. You're representing the club. You need to show. You need to show a lot more than that.
Are you willing to name any names, John, in particular?
I thought Pedro Porro. I don't. Brendan Johnson. I don't. The first half, the front three were appalling. I thought they were really bad. Second half, Mikey Moore showed more creativity, took players on. We took him off. Timo Werner. The kid doesn't like scoring, does he? I think we've done. I appreciate we've got a lot of injuries. I understand that. I can see why we're probably keeping him around. Having said that, it doesn't offer anything. It doesn't offer anything at all. And it takes a Kulusevski to come on, Son to come on. I mean, Solanke wasn't the greatest when he came on either, but there was a presence up there when he was. So it's taken that to get over the line. I think there's a mentality issue with this club, and there has been for years. That's my biggest bugbear with it.
Ange's kind of admitted that himself. He's trying to change that. Did you get any sense that it can change?
Yeah. I mean, like today, to fair play to him. I mean, he's respected the cup, put out a strong team. Okay, he could have gone with under 23s team, for example. He hasn't. He's gone with a strong team. He's respected it. He embraced the banter he was getting and all of that sort of stuff, and immersed himself in it, which was good. I remember Ben Davis made a point once before when we play like domestic cups or in Europa League or anything like that. There was almost like a sort of two-team mentality. It's like, well, I know I'm not going to play in the big league games. I'm just going to play in this, and automatically. Whereas take Ben Davis as an example, he's professional both. So it doesn't really impact him so much, but there are others where the attitude is poor. And how do we address that? How do we cope with that? I'll stick with Ange, stick with what he's trying to do. But the players have got to take responsibility for it. We were unlucky. We were lucky not to go out. To be fair,
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And that I have to say, I don't know how you feel, John, but I think if they'd scored that goal. In the last kick of the 96 minutes, I don't know whether Ange would have survived that.
No, he'd have been the scapegoat for it. He'd have been the fall guy, and would have just repeat Ryan Mason until the end of the season, and it would have just petered out. So, fortunately, that didn't happen.
Yeah, let's try and end this on a positive. We've got obviously the Emirates on Wednesday night. Can we cause a shock? What do you think?
Not too confident about it, but then again, I wasn't confident going into Liverpool last Wednesday, given the team that they had out and what we had out as well, and we played very, very well. Credit where credit's due. The attitude was good. We're a little bit more pragmatic. Can we go to Arsenal and get a result? Well, history will say no. We tend to roll over there. Again, it's the mentality issue. We play the club, not the team. Yeah. Just go and just give it everything you've got. Just give it absolutely everything you've got, and put on a real performance. And let's see what comes of it. Let's see what happens. You never know.
Tell you what, I feel a lot more confident against set piece FC with Kinski than I did.
Brilliant.
Forster.
Really good. What a good find. Fair play to the recruitment team. What a really good find. His handling was brilliant. Coming for crosses, which, to be fair, I don't think we've seen, or even before Lloris, because he was quite a line goalkeeper as well. Yeah. So him just coming out, talking to, demanding, organising the back line. There was that incident just in the second half, wasn't it, when the ball came back to him, played it out, and that fell out a shot from about 60 yards. But it wasn't Kinski's fault. It was the defender was on top of him, and he pointed that out. It was just good. He pointed it out to him. Whereas I don't know if Vicario has done that, and Forster certainly hasn't done that. So it's good. It's concentrating their minds a little bit more. But
all right, John. Listen, thanks so much for being part of the show. I'm gonna have to let you go, but let's talk after another game. Top man.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Bye. Okay, let's next go to all the way to another John. I've gone from John to John. John, hello. How are you doing, John? And how did you feel
good,
about
thank
that game?
Yeah, all good.
What are your thoughts on that game?
It was a hard watch. Unless you get an early goal in them sort of games, you're giving them more belief the longer the game goes on. I said to my daughter, the way it was going, last 20 minutes, the fitness should kick in. I expected us to win, get a couple of goals, 70th, 80th minute and win the game there and then. But I mean, to be honest, a lot of the players, they would have preferred for us to have been away to Blackburn or Watford than playing against Tamworth.
Of course.
And I think I've said before, I still play football now in a vet league. And, I know we're professional players, millionaires and everything else, but them 3G pitches like that are a nightmare when you're playing on grass week in and week out. To be honest, I don't know how they get away with it with regards to playing in their league, because every home game is a massive advantage to them because they play on it every week, whereas the other teams play on it once a season.
Well, presumably quite a few teams in their league probably have them, I would have thought.
Yeah, maybe. But, that is a bit of a leveller, having a pitch like that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, before the game, I said we'll win 5-0. Player for player, we should do. But it wasn't totally unexpected for me. And any neutral watching that would have, prayed that Tamworth had scored. And I played in semi-pro football, and a part of me would have been so happy for them knowing that must feel. I mean, they're playing on adrenaline for an hour. Yeah. The biggest game of their lives. I noticed the goalkeeper's shirt was specially made for the game. Tamworth v Tottenham FA Cup with a date on. They're going to keep all them tops. And when they're kids or grandkids, Daddy was an electrician, but he played against Tottenham Hotspur once.
Yeah.
And
huge.
When you're playing against a professional team like that, you want to show how good you are as an individual. So, if I was playing and I was playing Mark and Madison, my job would be to show him that I can play and he's up against it sort of thing. And like I say, little pitch like that, little ground with the adrenaline they're getting from the fans and the fact that their biggest game of their career, probably ever, will be.
Yeah.
We got the result done. They could have won it in the last 5 minutes. But, you look at the score, 3-0. We go, next round. Like
John, just before I let you leave, just because I've got loads of people to talk to, who did impress you for Spurs today? Is there who couldn't hold their heads up high for you?
To be honest, hardly anyone in sort of impressed me. Archie Gray had his normal, really, really good game. But none of the others really. Madison in bits and pieces. I thought Spence done well when he come on. But none of them were sort of at it. But like I said, I'm pretty sure everyone to a man would have rather we'd have played a much better team, a professional team away than you're on a hide into nothing when you go to places like that. You just have to get the job done. And we were a little bit lucky last 5 minutes, but at the end of the day, we're in the next round. And we continue. And one last thing, I know I've got to go. But I still think if they had won it in the last 5, I still honestly think Ange would have still been safe. I really do.
I wouldn't have wanted Ange to be sacked, but I think the clamour from social media would have been.
Yeah. Oh, I said to my daughter, I am dreading it. I'll have to turn my phone off if we'd have lost today with all the messages and everything I'd have got from everyone else. I wouldn't have wanted to look for a week.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll let you go. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks for being part of the show, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Bye.
Okay, and next we're going to go all the way to America with Simon, who's been very patient. Simon, can you hear me? How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yes, very well. What are your thoughts on today's 3-0 victory?
Well, I mean, if we would have lost, that probably would have been different. But since we won, it was fun. It was kind of cool. A little bit of a hot mess at the beginning with the whole net situation, and then seeing the player coming out with his child. I mean, it was cool. It was cool.
You sound much more chill about it than I was, Simon.
Well, I got my drink, so I'm good.
Top man. And Simon, obviously, we've got Arsenal coming up on Wednesday night. You expect to be a little less chill about things in that game?
Well, I mean, I think our whole season has just been a lot of stop and go, really inconsistent. And at least now we got 2 wins in a row, so I'm in the positive camp. So at the end of the day, it's still my club, and good times, bad times, I'm always going to stick behind them. So I'm always going to go into every game expecting a win from us. So let's go.
Oh, man. Listen, so it's the January transfer window. Do you think Spurs will make some more signings? And if so, where do you think we really need to invest?
Well, I mean, that's one of those things, I do consume quite a bit of Spurs content. So, I mean, it seems like we're all over the place with everything. But I really like the manager. I really like the how things been going with the new direction of data analysts and all of that stuff. I feel like a lot of our signings have turned out really nice and well. So whatever they do, I'm gonna support them. But I feel like, especially like today, we had a ton of possession, but no cutting edge in the end. So a couple of good attackers. Hey, I'll take some more goals.
Top man. Listen, Simon, thanks so much for being a part of the show today, mate. And let's talk after another game. Hopefully, maybe even on Wednesday night, and we'll have turned over Arsenal.
Hey, man. First time. Thanks for having me. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Top man. Okay, let's go back to the UK, and I'm going to talk to Connor. Connor, you've been very patient, mate. How are you feeling after that FA Cup win?
Well, it's more of a bittersweet feeling for me because you never want to complain after a win, but after watching that, I feel like it's very telling issues we've had with squad depth, and that's been a thing for years because whenever we play teams a lot lower down than us, even teams higher up than Tamworth in the EFL, we always struggle. We always have to sub on, the big boys to actually get a result.
Is there an argument, Connor, for you that we should start with all the big boys and then sub them off if we've then got, ahead enough early, or not?
No, I'm still someone who wants to see the second team play, but I just feel like we need to actually go out and sign the right players instead of just, this player's available, let's get them, even though they won't suit the system and all that sort of stuff. For example, I'd say Dragusin, who's, he could be a good player in another sort of side, but definitely not for us.
Yeah, that's $1 million question then, Connor. Who are the right players? Who are the players that we need to buy to improve, especially in my opinion, our forward line?
It's tough. Well, we was linked with Kolo Muani, but I'm not sure whether we'll actually get him or not now.
Do you rate him as a player? Do you think if Spurs are able to get that over the line, he'd be an improvement on Sonny at the moment and Brennan Johnson?
I think Kolo Muani's better than what we've got right now in terms of Werner and an aging Son, because Son's definitely not been at the races for a while now.
Okay. And obviously looking ahead, we've got Arsenal on Wednesday night. How are you feeling about that one?
I'm always up for Arsenal. I always enjoy the North London derby. Even if you draw, I don't know. Just for me, I always enjoy the game. And I always
a draw would be lovely, mate.
I always get pumped up for that game. So I don't know. I feel like I always have my bias goggles on whenever I watch Arsenal.
Yeah, of course. And just finally, before I let you go, Connor, obviously, it was a difficult game today, but where did you see in terms of Spurs players, positives, players who can hold their heads up high after their performances today?
Definitely Archie Gray, but he's been able to hold his head up high, ever since he's been forced into the team. All of the subs, they come on and they affected the game just as you would expect they would anyway. And then maybe I'd also say Reguilon, because he doesn't get to play. It's a big day for him, regardless of the opposition. He gets a full 120 minutes, and I can't fault him for his dedication to the club, even when he's out of favour.
Top man, Connor, thanks so much for being part of the show. Let's speak again after another game. Top man.
Cool, thank you.
See you, mate. Okay, and next up, I'm going to go all the way to Brazil, and one of our regulars, G, mate. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing. Thank you, Barnaby. Thanks for the commentary again today, even though you didn't know there was an extra time.
So, G, you're
What
an
happened there, mate?
You're an old man like me. How long has that been the case? For a couple of years?
No, you're absolutely right. No, I'm only joking with you, mate. I'm not trying to.
No. I mean, literally, how long has it actually been where there's not been extra time in the third round? Sorry, where there's not been a replay in the third round? Has it been like?
No, you're absolutely right. Sure. Yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't know, but along with you, when I was surprised when I heard it myself, but I heard it before the actual game kicked off. So
yeah. Anyway, G, let me know
your feedback.
Tell me your thoughts on the game overall. Yeah, there's a bit of a bad connection. I'll tell you what, G. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut away from you. Yeah, go on. Yeah, go on. Tell us how you feel overall about the game.
See if that happens. Overall, well, Kinski 2 for 0, so I'm happy about that. I'm happy they didn't score. Bobbly pitch, not the best pitch to play on. I thought it was a bit dangerous for some of our players, especially when we had our subs come on. It's obviously a situation we really did not want to do. I saw a tackle, see what happened to Dragoshin. I saw what happened to Porro as well. They're going to get tired, these players, and they're going to put in tackles that are not really up to standard. So I thought the ref was, again, I don't know where they're getting them from. That's overall like that. But I think more was pre-planned. I really do. I think he was told beforehand. I think that's why he gave more of a spurt on, in himself. He's a great player. Great today. Werner, I think he's found his level, really, and even then he wasn't good at it, was he? I don't know what to say about the guy. It's just like, we know he's not going to be here anyway. He's just there because he's there, and we don't have anybody else around really. Before the game, I thought 4-0 would have been the score, but I was thinking it would be the opposite way round. I thought we wouldn't need to put our players out. And even though we didn't have much of a front line at all, really, to play. Spence, though, again, I know it's against this team, but he really showed, I don't know, it was in the way he played. It was like, yeah, I'm playing Tamworth here. I know. And he was really cocky with it, but he was a good cocky with it. He took the game as it should have been. I thought so. I thought that anyway. Him and so Bergwell as well. I had a telepathic sense before the goal, and I don't know what it is, but I just knew they would score an own goal. I knew that was what's going to happen. I knew that was going to be the way. I'm not just making this up. It's absolutely true. I did really, really think that. And of course, after that, then, the legs go and everything else. So that was my overall spin on things throughout. I think we learned a lot here with some of the players who, it's not going to be the same against Arsenal. It's going to be a totally different approach, totally different ground, totally different way of playing. We'll put our players out there. We won't be like putting this mishmash of a team together. I'm not making that as an excuse, by the way. There's no way we should have gone all that time 0-0. No way. And especially when it was so dangerous at the end when they almost scored. It was pretty hairy stuff actually towards the end there. But I thought it was nice of the players, and we felt the same as well. I didn't celebrate. None of the players did. I saw, when Johnson scored his goal and didn't his assist, you could tell he just stood there and just was like, yeah, that's it. That's it. That's what we should be doing. That's it. It's enough. Even though he didn't have a great game,
G, sorry, I'm going to have to let
Sorry,
you go. Just
Barnaby,
mainly, I'm just going to let you go mainly because there's such a delay between me and you. But thank you for calling in, mate, and I'll speak to you after the next game.
Thank you, Barnaby. Take care, mate. All the best. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Okay, that is showing technology from London to Brazil right there. So next up, I'm going to bring on Marcus, who is in the UK. Marcus, can you hear me? And how did you feel about that result?
The result, good. I think if you said before the match, 3-0. Thought, yeah, sounds about right. But I think it was the manner in which we put that performance to bed was really concerning. We started slow and languid, and I thought, first 15 minutes, just getting a feel for the pitch, feel for the players, but it never really got out of second gear throughout the game. And I think, you've got to earn the right to play football against Tamworth players who put a proper shift in. I think tonight, if the Tamworth players looked in the mirror and said, did I do as much as I could do today? They'd all go, yeah, I think I did. I'm not sure how many of the Tottenham players could say the same. Some of them just looked very uncomfortable to be in that type of environment. And I think right from the first kickoff, we never really got going. And it was only when the Tamworth players obviously started to tire and we brought on, some of the higher caliber players, shall we say, Son, Kulusevski, Solanke, that we sort of started to look comfortable. But I think, Barnaby, the most disappointing thing is we've given ourselves another 30 minutes to play today. And we keep talking about Thursday, Sunday, a game every 3.6 days or whatever it is. Unnecessarily, we gave ourselves another half an hour to play. That's not good. I'll be very interested to see what Ange says after the game. What do you blame for that then? Do you blame complacency, or like you said, like just how kind of out of their comfort zone they were in that environment? Yes, possibly being out of their comfort zone. I don't expect many players in the team have played in that sort of environment. I think some of the earlier callers, it might have been John or both Johns, said they'd probably rather have a Watford or a Blackburn Rovers. You know what you're going to get. You look at the performance against Liverpool, top level elite team, fantastic. Today, four leagues down, looked really uncomfortable. I think it's mentality personally. I think if you had to say what is it, I think it's the mentality that was poor today. So, Marcus, is there an argument to say then, with the FA Cup 5th round draw about to come in about an hour's time, that Tottenham should try and draw the hardest team possible at home? I'd rather not have a harder team, but a higher caliber team. Mind you, we've done well in the Carabao Cup this season in terms. Yeah, that's what I mean. The type of teams we've knocked out. So yeah, I used to think Spurs previously, sort of flat track bullies. Record against the top 6 really poor. Actually, this season it's kind of inverse, shall we say? Yeah. So yeah, I'd probably feel confident about taking anyone on. But yeah, a bit of a painful watch. Well done, Barnaby. You've had extra time to cover today, so I hope you're on time and a half or double time for that. I don't know how it works, but yeah, it's a difficult watch, and you have to give Tamworth credit. I think they should take all the plaudits for their endeavour and attitude today, and I think that was evident. But you might say the result's everything. We won 3-0. Kinski, another clean sheet. He looked comfortable with what he had to do. Yeah. I think really he's a good addition. So fair play for the scouting system that's identified him, because I hadn't heard of him. But yeah. We're through, Marcus. That's all that matters. We're through. I'm sure there'll be lots of 4s and 5s out of 5 when we do the Spurs in the Media show when Chris does that. But I'll be interested to see what Ange's comments are, how pragmatic he is after the game. Thanks, Barnaby. Great show. No, top man. Thanks for getting involved, mate. And I'll speak to you after another game. Cheers. Yeah. Take care, everyone. Okay. Next up, we're going to Phil, who's also in the UK. Phil, I'm running out of time a little bit, I'm afraid, but all right. I'm loving your Millennium Falcon. But more importantly, how do you feel after the Tamworth 0 Spurs 3 game?
See, I think I ruined it yesterday because on Chris's show yesterday, I said, we'll win. And I was really confident. And I don't think you were right. Confident about Spurs. We won. But listen, there's 3 things to take away from that. I think we've all touched on it. Kinski, another clean sheet. Good save at the end. I had to go into the kitchen and my kids were watching it. I just couldn't watch that last 6 minutes because I think we've all seen that story before, haven't we? Gray is going to be the linchpin of our midfield for the next however many years we can keep him. Because once we get some defenders back and he pushes up, he's a baller. Like, and to be playing 18 on the left-hand side of defence, obviously Dorrington, Andrew doesn't fancy him. Dorrington's going to get a loan, I think he said the other day. And when Bergvall came on, his confidence has shot through. I think I was disappointed that we didn't start with a proper striker. I thought that was Lancashire. We played Lancashire in the Europa League, and he did all right. He scored a goal. Werner, that just meant we were toothless in the first half. I think Tamworth, to their credit, again came out at us. As I say, I'm in York. York City Stadium is literally just over there from me, and all my mates who support them are like, Tamworth will give you a good game. They don't score a lot, but they don't concede much either. And yeah, I think we needed a centre forward. Porro had a nightmare of a game, but that moment of class for that free kick, everyone thought he was going to shoot. And that it's just those little moments that are the difference. And listen, that pitch was terrible. That is one of the worst 3G pitches I've ever seen. We played on the one at Marine when they redid it into 2021 against Spurs Legends for our York Spurs team. And it's hard and it's never fun to play on. But that one, it looked like it belonged to a school. An underfunded school. Yeah, it was. But listen, next round.
I actually saw a sign. I saw a sign over the pitch just in the background that said basically 6-a-side played here every day. Like you can hire it. So clearly they have people playing it on it, like probably crossways.
On Chris's feed yesterday, there was a goal. My youngest was like, "Oh, look, you can play on there." And listen, that's how they make the money. And fair play to them. I think they came out and gave us a game, and I think it took us by surprise a little bit to begin with. But that last 6 minutes of injury time was not comfortable, and I was all set for deleting every social media account I have because I wouldn't have been able to cope with the grief.
Phil, I've not got long left. I've talked to other people, but let's talk again after another game. Top man.
Cracking. Take care, mate. Bye.
Right. Okay, next up, another regular, Steve over in the Czech Republic. Steve, I haven't got long with anyone left, I'm afraid, but let me know, most importantly, your major takeaways from that Tottenham 3-0 victory at Tamworth.
Yeah, major takeaway was this, that I thought Ange made a rod for his own back by making the selections that he did. I know there's one trainer of thought, and you've already mentioned that, let's put out our strongest team and put it to bed as early as possible. And I'm always for that. Because we've a lot of experience with not only with Spurs but with other sides. But let's say with Tottenham in the past, we've tried it in different FA Cup games or the Carabao Cup in the years gone by, and eventually we had to bring on Harry Kane. We had to bring on Son to put these games to bed. And I texted a friend of mine. I said, "Oh, I've seen the lineup, so we're not going to score." And I said, "Werner and Johnson will probably miss reasonably good chances," which they did. I mean, it's no surprise. It's not like genial comment, but disappointed. I mean, hats off to Tamworth, to a man. They really played as well as they could. They played out of their skins, gave everything. Fantastic from that point of view, but very disappointed that we had to use players that we really need to save their legs for the big North London derby on Wednesday night. So and also the same as nearly everyone has said in the last few minutes there, heart in your mouth, they looked like they were gonna nick it, Tamworth. And that one, again, like everyone else, my phone would have had to have been turned off for quite a long time.
Who can hold their heads up high though? Who impressed you today?
Obviously the keeper, again, didn't have a lot to do. What he did very, very well. I thought Bissouma had a good game generally. Tidying up. I'm talking about players who started the game for us.
Yeah, I thought Bissouma was as good as I've seen him for a long time, actually.
Yeah. That's about it, really. I mean, Porro was out of sorts. Maddison, I think he could have put one of those chances away that he had, and he didn't, and he sort of just tailed off. He was trying to get things going in the early stages. We all appreciate that it looked at a really horrendous pitch to play on. We take that on board. But disregarding that or taking that into account, we should have still sort of put it to bed early. We all know that. But disappointed.
All right, Steve, mate, thanks again for being part of the show. Let's speak after that North London derby. Enjoy the rest.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I want to be on the programme.
Top man. All right.
I think we'll draw. I don't think we'll lose.
I hope you're right. Well, I hope you win. Okay. See you later. Bye.
Maybe. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Okay, next up, going to Andrew, who's... where are you, Andrew? Where are you in the world?
Kingston, Jamaica.
In Jamaica, Andrew. Thank you for being patient. Tell me what you thought of that Spurs performance.
What I expected, actually. I didn't think that we would have set the place alight. I thought it was going to be difficult because I know what it's like playing as an underdog in a number of areas, and you get that. And the pitch was a real leveler. It brought us a peg or two down. It made a big difference, I thought. And then we have to also look at the fact that the players were coming off probably 2 months of playing every 3 days. Mm-hmm. They were going to be trying to protect themselves a bit, so they weren't going into tackles as robust as they probably could. But the Tamworth players were going into it, and I thought one or two of those tackles probably should have gotten a yellow card, would have settled the game down a little earlier. But it didn't. The referee didn't necessarily have a good game, but it wasn't a bad game either. I didn't see much of him, which is always a good thing because I spent years as a referee. So one of the things that they tell you is that if both teams complain about you, then you're probably a good enough. Or if nobody sees you, because people are there to watch the players, not you. And that was the most important thing I learned being a referee. They're here to watch the players. They're not here to watch you. So don't take over the game. Just allow it to flow.
And Andrew, what positives can we take from today, like in terms of player performances?
I thought, well, surprisingly, most people didn't mention him, but I thought Reguilon had a pretty good game, a decent game. For somebody who hasn't played for months and to get 20 minutes in his legs was really a good thing for him, I thought. Bissouma showing why we bought him in the first place, I thought today. He was commanding, and he showed the fact that he's captain of Mali, and that's part of what he did today. Jagosin, I thought really, you could see he was tired, and he was really giving his best. And so is most people seem to forget he's just 22. So that kind of experience, standing him up here after playing all he has, because he haven't gotten a rest. Actually showed his character. 1 or 2 times you could see he was a little bit out of sorts. Again, that's come from fatigues. It affects the way you think and the decision that you make. And so defensively, I thought we played well despite all of that. Porro was the one who really showed a lot of that he needs a rest for me in how he played today. The midfield was almost non-existent except for Bissouma. Sarr was lost. Madas started pretty well the first 45 minutes, then he faded. After that, Moore, I didn't expect him to set the pace alight. It's his first game after a couple of months out, so you'd expect him to ease his way in. Not surprised he got hooked after 65 minutes and thereabout. Werner, I thought, would have done a lot more. I'm not sure if he got service that would have made him run or get behind the defense of the team. Maybe the passing that didn't give him the chance to use his strength, which is his speed and stuff. I didn't expect him to score anything. Probably once I thought he probably should have. A little dink over the keeper, that one-on-one, I thought probably would have tried that. But that comes from a lack of confidence, not being able to score on a regular basis, and that showed up. So and Johnson is I thought if he doesn't have a target, then Johnson doesn't put in the kind of crosses that he did. You notice when Solanke came on, his game changed, and he was a lot more positive in terms of getting behind the defense and putting crosses in. Because now he has a target, and I didn't think Warner gave him that much of a target for him to do. So it's sometimes I have to look at context and how it is that players do. But hats off to Tamworth. They were well drilled in terms of how they played. And you could see that they knew the environment that they were in, and they utilized it to the best of their advantage. And it made a difference. I didn't think we would have scored after the first 30, 40 minutes, but I didn't think it was taking us all of that time, 100 and plus minutes, to finally find the back of the net. But the good thing, we are through to the next round, so there's something that we got out of this game that's a real positive. We don't have to say, if honestly, like most of my previous persons have said, if we had lost this game, I would have had to just not answer my phone for a while. I couldn't take especially the Arsenal fans that I have.
Okay, Andrew, honestly, thanks so much for being part of the show, and I'll speak to you after a game in future. Top man.
Thank you very much for having me. Looking forward to another time.
Top man. Bye-bye.
Right.
Okay, and my final guest today, Wes the King. Thanks for being so patient, Wes. Let me know your thoughts after we won that game, just about 3-0.
Yeah, I have a lot of, like, mine's going to be pretty negative, I ain't going to lie, because I understand we won, it's good we won, yada, 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 and a lot of people complain about the pitch. I don't really care. We're going to play on whatever pitch. When we get to lower leagues like that, you're going to play on plastic pitches or whatever, but at the end of the day, you're still playing the same games, same rules apply and all that, so I don't care about a pitch. So I don't understand why all the comments on, oh, the pitch is trash, the player, I don't care nothing about that. It's still the same way you play. That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. I'm sorry. For us not to score at all within 110 minutes against a team like that is just disgraceful to me. I'm glad we won. We got through. That's great and all, but there's a lot of players that need to look themselves in the mirror. Madison started great, but it shuffled and faltered over the game. Johnson, man, and Werner, what horrible. Like, I'm sorry. Werner is horrible. Like, Johnson's not near as bad as Werner, but both of them can't really hold their head high on that. You saw after Johnson scored a goal, he was like, oh, he knew very well that he did not play good enough, and it looks very embarrassing. And even when Solanke kind of got that on goal to happen, he was like, man, there's no reason for him to even be out there. No reason none of those players should have been subbed in at all. And I'm sure Ange did not plan. I'm sure he's upset with even putting them out there. I'm sure. He's not going to say it. He's going to keep it very mild tone and keep it pushing. But that, at the end of the day, that was disgraceful performance. Those players need to look up, especially Werner. If Werner wants to continue his career, like, dude, you're gonna like, bro, it's about to be over with. You're about to be playing, I don't know where, but you're not going to be playing any kind of top level side if you can't produce. And he looked out depth. He looked better. He looked more comfortable when he got back on the wing. I think he is more a winger. He looked way more comfortable once he got on the wing. I would say that. I'll give him that. But wow, just in general though, that's ridiculous. But everybody else, we got tired legs. So Dragusin, he kind of, but he kept, he was. I don't think he's hurt. I think it was just because of the yellow card. I don't think he. Okay. I think Ange knew that he was probably going to get himself in trouble if he kept playing. So he just took him out. Which is fine. Spence looked uncomfortable playing center back though. But
you thought he looked uncomfortable? I thought he looked good.
Yeah, it just that the way he moved, where he's where he moves, and it's just a little bit natural how the flow of the play is. He looked a little bit weird the way he was, and but it worked out because of the competition. He was able to dribble out a couple times, and he did some good passes and stuff like that. I'm not saying he played bad, but it's just that that's not his position. We know that. He's really a back. He's a right back. He's used to be on the wings and stuff like that. If he played right wing and took Johnson, I think he would have had a little bit better play. But any day we got through. I understand everybody else has been pretty rational today. I get that. And a lot of people probably used to this but there's no reason going against the 5th division side. We should people who got jobs in the morning. No, that's just unacceptable for me. So Wes,
let me try and end it with you with a positive. We've got Arsenal on Wednesday night. Can we do the classic Tottenham thing where we've nearly gone out of the FA Cup to a non-league side and then go and beat Arsenal at the Emirates?
Yeah, that's how Spurs go. I hear it look like we're about to lose to some low side, and then when we go against a big team, we for some reason look right back to being one of the being a Premier League team. So I expect that to be a battle. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I'm hoping we can win. I always hope that Spurs can win at the end of the day, and hopefully we can pull one out. And just on to the next one. Luckily we got through that. But Barnaby, good well that right there, that was not good. Those first 90 minutes, man. I know. At the stream, man, he was looking like, what's going on?
Yeah, no, you're right, Wes. You're right. Listen, thanks so much for being part of the show, and let's speak again hopefully after a win at the Emirates on Wednesday. Top man.
Yeah, let's go. Come you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.